And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Corrosion. Corrosion is a Euro game style game designed by Stephen Bauer from Capstone Games, in which you are building these machines, but I guess you're running like a steam machine, and this machine is spinning in a circle running other machines, and they're rusting away or something. Some of the machines are going to go away. You're trying to build the most efficient machine. This is literally an engine building game, because you are building an engine, but also you're building a game engine. I'm not going to go into too much detail with the rules, but here's a little bit of how the game works. This is the setup that a player will have. Each player also has a set of cards that you will have that show various suits. We have blue, red, and green. There's also gray in the game with different numbers. And you have various resources in the game. You have chrome gears, the best gears. You can keep these here. You got points that you can get, so you can spend points in this game occasionally. And then you have these small and medium gears. These are in the 4 different sections here of your factory. And this is pretty important because you can spend them at any time you want, but they're also going to go away after a point. The basic conceit of the game is you are either going to play a card from your hand on your turn, or you're going to rotate your factory. Now, you'll rotate your factory because as you rotate your factory, you're going to get cards back and make machines work. But at the beginning of the game, that doesn't make as much sense as playing a card. When you play a card, you're going to take the action on that card. So, for example, this one here says take a small or medium gear. When you play that card, if any other player wants to do the same action, they can do so as long as they play a card that's of the same suit, in this case blue, and is a higher number. So I could play this 3 and as you play the 1. However, the action at the bottom of my card is not this one, it's whatever you played. Both players will take the action, and then they're going to place it on the side that matches the number. So this is at 1. If I played a 3, it would be put over here in the 3 section. If you get any resources, and as a result of an action, like for example some gears, they would go in the 3 section. This is the middle of the table, and it's what you're going to be trying to do with your various actions. You're going to buy one-shot machines. You're going to buy these rotating machines. You're going to buy regular machines. You're going to try to get more cards that will go in your deck. These cards can be pretty powerful. Here's a 4. Although whenever you take a number 4, you also have to give up a victory point when you're getting it. But when you take these cards, they're going to be put into your factory in various places. One-shot machines are placed like that, and when the X rotates around to where they are, and you'll put the one-shot machine again where the 3 is. So once the X gets around to wherever that is, the one-shot machine will go off, and then it goes away. So like I said, it's a one-shot machine. The rotating machines here, and so you'll see this one gives you a gear. Every time you rotate, you get that gear. You get whatever the action happens to be. So whenever you rotate, you're rotating because when the X gets to a spot where your cards are, those cards come back in your hand so you can use them again. When it gets to where the one-shot machines, they go off. If it rotates, these go off. And when the X gets to where you have gears, they go away. So you better spend them before you get to that point. Your resources in the game that you'll use to buy and build things is going to be the small, medium, chrome gears points, sometimes steam. And each player starts with 3 steam. 2 of it's unheated, 1's heated. When you spend steam, it just goes down, although you have ways to heat steam up and even possibly get more steam throughout the game. But you're going to be building these machines, and when you get a machine, you can stick it over here in a storage area if you want to, but once you pay the gears on the machine, you're going to put it in the shape that matches. So this one goes here, and this one says whenever I rotate, I get to heat one of my steam. Well, that's pretty cool. Not to mention it's worth 3 victory points at the end of the game. If I get another of the same machine type, I'm only going to be able to do the special ability of the top one, but at the end of the game, the points on both of them are going to count towards me. The main ways to get points are through buying these machines, but there's also ways to take these cards over here. These will be randomly chosen at the beginning of the game, and these will score you points at the end. Like, for example, this gives you 2 points for each person that you've gotten of this one suit, and it gives more details here. There are 2 of them. Whoever takes the first one is going to get this extra bonus. So players are going to get points that way. Building machines, some of the machines have these little white victory points on them, and those are the same as the green victory points, but they're limited based on the number of players, and running out of those points will trigger the end of the game. Also, whenever your X reaches the bottom spot here, you will run your machines that are listed here, if it mentions it, like get a gear, heat up a steam, but you also always get one of those points. So the game does have a ticking kind of clock to that end. At that point, you simply are going to add up all your machines that you got over the course of the game, any extra points that you've gotten from bonuses, and whoever has the most is the winner. For a game that does not have a board, this takes up a remarkable amount of space on the table. This is in the center. Each person's going to have this whole section in front of them. The gears are fine, although I think it's a little odd that the gears, the small and large gears, I would have made them maybe different colors. It's not a huge deal. Like here, it's obvious. You need 1 small, 1 medium, and 1 chrome gear. But sometimes a card will just show one of them, and it always takes, every time people play, they're like, that's the medium gear, right? That's a minor thing. The chrome gears, so these are the ones that came in the game, although somehow I got upgrades here to these metal ones. They both are fine, but the metal ones are really cool. Symbology is a thing. There's a lot of symbols in the game, but I didn't find it to be tremendously difficult, and I thought the rule book did a nice job at teaching the game. We often call out bad rule books. This was a rule book that worked well. So for the most part, I like the components, and I especially like the starting player marker tells you what to do on your turn. Because with turn order, you have these secondary actions and clear sectors and main actions, and that's a little funky to remember sometimes, and just having it here on the start player marker can help. Now, Corrosion has some interesting ideas. The playing a card and other people can copy it is a really fascinating one. Because when I showed you, and for example there, I played a 1, which gave me a gear, and the other person played a 3. That 3 lets them also take a gear. But if they don't play that 3, on their turn they can play this 3, which gives them another card. Well, you want more cards, right? So it doesn't make any sense to copy the other person. So you often will not copy the other person because you think, well, this is a better action than theirs. But what I found was, when playing this game, was it's really useful to take actions on other people's turns because that gives you more actions. They may not be as good as waiting until your turn, but if you can take an action on each other person's turn, and then on your turn you rotate it and get some of your cards back, and then keep doing so, you have to find that balance, and it's a really interesting balance to have. Having these, and then all the different cards that you get better cards in your hand. That's always a fun thing to do. You have these one-time machines that you set up and get over there, make it go off. The rotating machines, which you'll get to use 3 times. And then the big machines. There's a lot going on. It is not evident when teaching this game, it's hard for me to kind of explain where victory points come from. There's a few machines that produce victory points, but most victory points come from getting those end game conditions and or just building machines in general. You want to build as many machines as you possibly can. It's not as evident how the hamburger is made. You know you need gears, you know you need to do this, you know you need cards. So your first game will be a little thrown off. I'll take some cards, that seems good, I'll take this. But once you play through it, you can kind of see where things are going. I do wish that it was a little more obvious, like how the game comes to an end. But I will say, turns are pretty quick, and the fact that you can do an action on someone else's turn keeps you constantly engaged. This is, like I said, I thought the rule book made sense, but I will say it's not a particularly intuitive game to teach people. The whole rotating, and I had this problem with, you're always supposed to take the resources you get and put them at the number 3, but the number 3 is constantly rotating and changing around your board. And so I would constantly say, oh, I got these cards, this gave me this, I'm going to put it here. Oh no, wait, it's supposed to go over here. It's not a huge deal, but it's something to wrap your mind around. I want to rotate to get my cards back. I want to rotate to do this, but I also want to play a card. What's the best order to do them in? And you'll find many times, oh, I did that one thing in the wrong order. But that's the good of the game then is finding the depth and the strategy behind things, going deeper into it. And so I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy this one. I liked it a lot. This would be a tougher one for me to teach, but I could work around by explaining what to do and as you play the game. And like I said, it does take up a lot of table space for a game without a board, but there's some very enjoyable things to be found in here. So that's Corrosion. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment approved.